New York City, Brooklyn.
Yes, hello.
Thanks for being on the show, Amber.
Of course. Yeah, thank you for having me. I don't know where to look right now, but I'll look at you.
Okay, cool. Yeah, look at me. I'm going to look at you. It's kind of like I got a camera here and then I got a... Yeah, lots
Same.
of cool technology.
But we're making it work. Yeah.
This is like my first Zoom meeting.
Everyone is just on Zoom. I wonder if they're a public company because I need to invest.
Invest. I know. Hey, you're the first lady on my show.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, cool. Well, thank you for having me.
Yeah.
Very honored.
Well, there was a number of reasons why I wanted to talk to you. One, I really enjoy your music, and the content you're putting out on YouTube is awesome.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. And I also thought it would be really interesting to talk about New York today because I just read about it in the news. I haven't actually talked to any of my friends about it. So what's going on over there?
New York right now. So I am in Brooklyn, and I normally go into Manhattan probably at least once or twice a week. And I haven't been in 3.5 months.
Whoa.
Yeah, so it's been a little, I've been a little velocitized just because in Brooklyn it's generally a lot quieter anyway. But it's definitely been a whole different ball game. Yeah, I know a lot of people that are struggling and et cetera, but...
Are people, like, using the subways? Is that even a thing right now?
Yes and no. I have not been on a subway again in like 3.5 months, but I do know people that have... My brother even still goes into the office in Manhattan, and he rides the subway all the time, but he says there are barely anyone on it.
Yeah.
So which usually it's packed. It's normally, everyone's trying to get to work, everyone's trying to get somewhere, and now we are riding bikes, we are riding electric scooters, so in one way it's good for the environment, the other way,
Yeah. Someone told me, actually, can you leave New York? You can, but it's like you have to quarantine or something. Is that the...
Things are changing so frequently. I think New York, it might be okay, but if you're coming into New York from, say, Florida or somewhere else that's really a hot button area right now, you do have to quarantine for 14 days. So my younger brother was actually going to come visit from Florida, and he realized he couldn't because he'd be quarantined. So New York is a little bit past its peak, I would say, as far as what's going on with Corona. There's still a lot of cases. Some of my friends just got tested positive. So it's still out there. But my brother's fiance actually is a nurse at a private hospital in Brooklyn, and she kind of gives us the 411 on everything that's going on right now. So
I'd be really curious. Yeah. Well, like, what does she say about it? I mean, it's...
Right now it's a little better. It's a little, she went through such a tough time in mid-April whenever the peak was happening in New York. And it was just really emotionally draining on her and draining in general. It was just a really, really rough time. And I could tell just by talking to her on the phone, she was working 70-hour weeks or whatever it was. And they'd be 12, 15-hour shifts. And it was just a lot. And, she'd see so much that she never expected to see. And it was really, really rough on her. So, but I think it's slowed down as of now, at least in New York.
Yeah.
It was really bad.
Yeah,
From what I could tell.
Yeah. It's been such a trip out here. Like, I was kind of in a transitional period myself where I was in between jobs. I was trying to like do more freelance work out here, and then it just all came to a grinding halt. And in some ways, it's been a real blessing. We were talking off camera, but like I am collecting unemployment right now. And thank God, because I can actually do this podcast right now wholeheartedly and like it's my full-time job.
Absolutely.
I don't know how long that's going to last, but like as an artist, I'm like, wow, I'm living the good life. I'm like, you know?
Yeah. Well, and it's different, right? Because we're all getting if you're collecting unemployment, everyone's getting the additional 6 months or $600 a week, right?
Right.
In New York, doesn't really go that
doesn't.
far. Like if I was back in Iowa, if I was back in Fairfield, man, like that'd be amazing. But yeah, as of now, it's great. And it's great to have that extra cushion and not be working and focus on music, focus on the creative aspect of our lives that, you know, we really want to be in. But yeah, in New York, I got lucky because we recently signed a new lease and we got 4 months free rent, which was unheard of. So
that is incredible.
I think is helping a lot. But if that wasn't happening, you know, it's not quite enough for me to pay rent and survive off of. So in New York, it's kind of tough. And the side jobs that you can get in New York are mostly gig event work, bars, restaurants, and none of those are or were available. So it was really tough for a lot of people.
Yeah, New York got hit like the hardest. No doubt about it.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
you guys are like packed like sardines over there.
It's insane. I think I read somewhere that like at least 500,000 people have left New York City, moved out,
Wow.
gone.
That's
so
crazy.
we'll see. It's probably more than that now, but yeah, everyone was just like, all right.
Well, I
We're
was
outta
curious.
here.
Yeah, like we have this in common that we grew up in Fairfield together. And I knew of you. Although it wasn't until much later that I listened to your music, and you played a show here at the Depot Brewery.
Yeah.
But what was that initial inspiration that got you out there?
I was actually going out for a friend's wedding, and then one of my other friends was like, you should take advantage of this and do a show. And I was like, you know what? Maybe you are right. So it was kind of a last minute get it all together, but it turned out great. And I was wondering why I hadn't, performed in my hometown sooner. There's just a lot of love and a lot of support, and especially for artists in general. And I think that's something I do love about the community is it is very supportive. And to come from a small town is always going to be a little more community oriented than coming from a big city. I mean, I know people who live and have grown up in big cities, and it's just, I never feel like they quite have the same familial example, I guess, I had growing up.
So strange times we're living in now. Do you see yourself staying in New York? You're gonna tough it out?
For the time being, I do. Just because, I mean, I even got an email from the part-time. I do work some gigs and events and do alcohol promotion, but makes some good money. But yeah, I mean, that was definitely on hold for a while, but I did get an email recently that they might be starting stuff back up, which I'm a little hesitant to do just because you're in the hot button of everything. So many strangers drinking things and touching things, and it's just a lot, but yeah. But I do see it. I do see myself staying here. I'm just going to stick it out. We'll see how far.
Oh, that's great.
How much longer I make it.
Yeah. Well, tell me about the music scene. What's going on right now in terms of your recording?
Sure. We are all, as a music community, trying to do as many online shows as possible. And it's definitely not the same as going to a live show. for
Yeah.
sure. But, you know, it's a whole different ballgame now. I think an online presence is so much more important now than it ever was before. And it was important before. But now if you don't have some sort of social presence, you're just forgotten instantly. So you just need to keep not necessarily putting out music. You just need to keep letting people know that you're still doing things. And, you know, so it's hard to keep up with, but it's something new to explore, I guess. And I've never been good at it. You seem to be getting better and better at it.
I mean, everyone's got to start somewhere, right? I had this thought to do a podcast for years, and I started out, I was doing vlogs, personal style vlogs. And I felt like that was only going to take me so far, because I was reading up on this the other day. It's kind of like selfish content. It's like, if you know me, it'd be really cool to like kind of see my day in the life. Like, suppose I was a famous person. Oh yeah, you'd want to see like what I'm doing in my backyard. But I didn't, at a certain point, I was like, I don't know if that's a way to grow a channel. But I kind of brought my personal philosophy into this, which is just like, I love talking to people. I felt like that was really missing. Certainly, like, I was just scrolling through my Facebook newsfeed and just seeing a lot of like separation, and even amongst friends, I was just like, oh, this isn't cool. Like, I'd rather like have our disagreements and like still be friends.
Yeah.
So that was one inspiration for the show, and then the other was to just like get to know people and help promote their various creative endeavors, which I really believe in.
Awesome. I think it's great. No, I really do, because I get a little, self-promotion is never something that I've been good at, and whenever I do, it feels inauthentic to me. And even though I do provide music to people that really do enjoy the music, the leading up to it, like the creating content just to have something out there, was it did seem very like self-fulfilling almost. And I just, it's hard for me to do. And I think once you focus your energy on how you can enhance other people's lives, or how you can really have a discussion more so, it's definitely a whole different level of fulfillment, because you're outside yourself, and so I have to keep reminding myself when I do post content that the music I'm coming out with, I would want to listen to, and I hope that other people get the same feeling and emotion out of it that I put in. And I have to remind myself that that's the exchange that I really value. So you have to like constantly remind yourself why you're doing what you're doing. And I think, honestly, like I said before, I think this is a great way for you, because you are the few interviews that I've seen so far, you are very good at listening, and you're active, and you're interested, and it allows people to bring out what they want to say, and actually trust that it's received well. And so I think you kind of have a natural way about you with it. So
Wow.
Yeah, I really believe that.
Thanks for saying that.
Yeah.
No, it's really great. Yeah, I feel lucky that I get to talk to you on the show today. And like, also, I want to get into like what goes into a song. Like, how do you write? Do the lyrics come first? Do you get a beat in your head, or
So initially, ever since I was very, very young, my mom even told me that she would find little slips of paper around the house that had these little dots on them, and she couldn't figure out what it was. And then she realized that I was writing music, but I just didn't know music, and I was really young. So I'd like, one little dot would be higher than the other one. Like, I was trying to actually make a melody. So I think always there's been something in me that needs to get out musically. And so it really is just honing in and finding the right headspace for it to come out naturally. And I've found that the best way to do it is to I will just find a nice spot that I like, usually by water, some kind of nature, and I will just start writing. Doesn't matter what comes out, because I know as I'm writing, it'll get better and better, and it'll get more focused, and things will come out that I'm not expecting. And so I think that's definitely a tool I've used, is to not worry about the first couple thoughts. It's kind of stream of consciousness, but it's also just like kind of getting the garbage out first, and then you kind of, it just takes practice, like everything. But sometimes lyrics will never come alone. They'll always have a melody attached. And then teaching myself producing was another huge milestone that I never thought I would be doing. So it was always just a little too technical for me. But once I got over, it was little by little. And once I got to a certain point, I was like, wow, this is so much easier than I thought. And like, I can do it, and I'm interested, and I just wanted to keep going. So it's really been a long road.
Yeah, I believe you. It was funny too, like we were setting up for the technical on this interview, and like I was just explaining you asked me what background I might have in terms of mixing the audio, which I know basically nothing. Like I'll look it up on YouTube, or, sometimes if I have a down
YouTube
moment,
helps.
I'll YouTube's great like that. It's so funny because like I didn't know about dynamics and limiters and stuff. So I was like literally tweaking every little dot on the timeline. And I was like, whoa, if I just press this button, I'm going to save like 5 to 10 hours. It's magic.
Yep. I've been there. I've definitely been there. And especially with the voice, there's so much going on, as far as you notice little things about the voice, what frequency you hit most of the time. Sorry, things pop up on my screen.
Oh, that's okay.
It's just so annoying. But yeah, you get to know. I'm only working with my own voice, so you just really get very intimate with your vocal sound. Like I have a lot of, I have to de-ess my vocals a lot because I have a little like whistle almost when the S's come. So I have to like de-ess everything so much. Like you can hear it anyways, doesn't matter. You get really intimate with it.
Well, you have a beautiful singing voice. We were actually listening to your last upload, one of your live looping videos, right? We were listening to it and just like, wow, that is like really, the quality of it was like really, really well done, I thought.
Thank you. That means a lot.
So when did you get into live looping?
Honestly, the pressure to produce content was a huge one. But then I got very excited with it. And I think I always wanted to do it. I'd seen people on stage here in Brooklyn years ago, live looping on stage. And I was like, whoa, how do they do that? So just a couple months ago or last year, I started going on YouTube and looking at tutorials. And none of them would tell me exactly like what I wanted to know. All of them had a weird workaround. And I was like, no, just tell me. So I eventually figured it out, mostly through trial and error. And it was just so simple that I felt so stupid once I figured it out. I was like, wow.
It seems so like it's so creative and in the moment. Like it looks like you're having a lot of fun in these videos.
That's what I like about it. And it's when you watch it back, I'll get a lot of comments on my YouTube, like, you should start singing sooner. Why does it take so long to? And I'm like, yeah, I can do that. But it takes every 8 count. You have to you loop it and then you press another button to record it. And then you have to wait for the next 8 count to do this. So it's like, it's very mechanical and it only starts at certain points. And meanwhile, your head is going like crazy. You're like, what do I have to do next? What do I have to do next? What do I have to set up next? So there's a lot going on behind the scenes. So before things happen. So I just have to get better at it and faster at it. But it's fun for me. And I think I just, no matter if I'm the most amazing or not, it's just fun to do. And I think I just, would want to keep doing it just to play around. I mean,
honestly, it's like, it's relatable in that, like, yeah, we're doing this interview, which there's some live elements. We're not like broadcasting live, but still, like, this is in real time. And so, like, the same way that you might craft, like, you have an idea, it's a song, like, there's every 8 count and all that stuff. I'm slowly starting to understand that, okay, this is like an episode of the podcast. It sounds so elementary, but, and then I'm like, okay, I really need to like stop saying and stop saying like and like all this other bullshit and just really get to like the essence of what I'm trying to say in the moment.
It's true. No, it's true. And I will realize when I watch YouTubers, because I'm on YouTube a lot, it's just a great resource. And then you get into those influencers and YouTubers that you're like, whoa, they've been doing this for so long. But they'll edit out, you see these weird edits and you're like, it makes sense, but you're like, what are they doing there? And they're editing out their ums and uhs and whatever they're doing.
I kind of just aspire to be a better speaker and like edit less. But I also appreciate the other style too. It's fine.
Yeah.
But a lot of people,
tedious.
Yeah.
You have to go in and
seriously. Are you actively recording stuff, or is the goal to maybe create a new album or anything like that? Or
yeah, so I have one song that's completely finished, that I wrote, produced, performed, recorded, mixed, and then I couldn't master, so I sent it off to someone to master. But I tried to be really self-sufficient because it's very expensive to do everything.
Yeah. Amen
so
to that.
I'm like, I gotta learn it all.
Well, yeah.
Go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say, I think there's serious merit to that. I mean, that's basically what I have to do as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But I think you can speak to it once you get to a certain point. You know how to delegate better, and you know how to use proper vernacular to actually communicate what you want. And I think when I first moved to New York, I would perform with a full band and I didn't know how to tell them what I wanted. And I think that in itself made me want to learn because I felt like I shouldn't be where I was. I shouldn't be instructing a band because I didn't even know how to tell the bass player to, not make it so funky. I didn't know how to tell him just do some straight bass notes, just for support. Like, I didn't even know how to say that. So I think you're right. I think there is merit in learning most of your craft, and then you can speak to it properly and expand from there. I lost track of what we were saying.
No, it's cool. I do that too sometimes. In fact, yeah. When was the last time you did a show? Since COVID?
It's been, at the beginning of the year, I had a plan to do, I wanted to do a show a week. So I was like, 52 shows this year. I'm going to do it. And then COVID happened and I was like, great. So I've done a few Insta Live performances, and I did one, I think last week, on this other musician's page. And so, I mean, it's a good way to keep networking and keep everything alive with your fellow musicians, which is good, but it's harder. Yeah. It was hard to get into a venue initially, and now everyone's trying to perform live online. So it's even harder to, at least from what I've seen, figure out who has a live showcase coming up. And so the last time I performed live was, I think, last fall, I want to say.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah. It's been a while.
So, but for a time being, you were doing like weekly shows in and around New York?
No, that was the plan. I wanted to do a show a week. I know. I know. And I was like, I have new music that I'm going to release. This will be perfect. And then this all happened. And yeah, it's it's life and we're all adjusting and
Is what it is. I know. I actually, the couple of times I went to New York, I really loved it. And I thought I was going to do that at some point. I had some really close friends that were living in Brooklyn also.
cool.
But I don't know. I guess my life took a different course. I guess never say never, but I guess there's just something so attractive to me about Fairfield on some level, because, I mean, what you guys pay in rent, it just hurts me. Like, it's so astronomical.
It's insane. No,
But-
it's insane.
But you guys also, I mean, you have exposure to so many opportunities being in a big city. There's no denying that.
It's true. I didn't even know what I was doing before existed, where you could sample alcohol to people and make a really good amount of money and only work 20 hours a week. Like, that just wasn't a thing in Iowa. And work these big events, and actually great networking, because you meet a lot of people and I did an event at iHeartRadio, and I was like meeting all the people that were running stuff there, and it's just, you get exposed to a lot more than I think. I mean, I love going back to Fairfield is fun. I don't think I would ever live there again, but it was fun going back.
I hear you on that one. Wait, when you say alcohol sampling, what is that? I don't even know what that is.
Right? So I didn't know it existed. So basically, you can be a promo model, and there are these big events or small events that are just sponsored by
Heineken
alcohol brands. Yeah.
Okay.
And then you just go there and you are literally you don't even pour it, because you're not a bartender technically. You're just there to talk to people and to hand them a sample, and that's it. And you
make good
great
money.
amount of money, and you meet a lot of great people, and never knew it was a job. And now I'm really sad that it's not really a thing right now. But I got very lucky.
That's awesome. How long have you been doing that?
Just about a year.
Okay.
So, yeah. I should have been doing it ever since I moved to New York. I didn't know it was a thing. And then I could have paid off my student loans in like a couple months. Like, it would have been great.
Student loans. Oy.
Oh my God.
I actually just found out too that suddenly I had this like $3,000 thing that I never paid off. And it's like, I didn't.
And you just found out.
Yeah. It's
so
like,
random.
but it's like literally like 5 years old, and I haven't received any letters. It's just like, oh, cool. Yeah, thanks. Like, that's great.
Like, thanks. Did you make this up? Do I really owe that? Where did this come from?
I mean, nowadays it almost does feel like it's all fake. It's like fake money. It's like fake.
Right?
It's like, actually on my back wall, I still have the stimulus like letter that Donald Trump sent me along with a little $1,200.
Congrats on that. I know, right? I don't know if I got a letter. Oh, because you got a check in the mail.
I think the wire transferred it to me, but then, I got the letter just saying like, hey, thanks, vote for me later or something like that. That's what it said.
Thanks for taking money from us. Vote for me later. Oh, that's a whole other topic.
Seriously. Well, someone said,
my
I
God.
mean, it's very likely unemployment's going to go through the end of the year, which is crazy.
I saw something like that, which would honestly be great, because I don't see sorry, let me make sure I'm still recording. I don't see at least both industries that I'm currently in getting back to any sort of normal. If there are jobs and there are events, they're going to be really, really hard to find. A lot of people trying to work them, a lot of people trying to get in to sing at these venues if they open up again. So it's going to be really tough to get back to anything. Are you so you're collecting unemployment, but can I ask like what you did
Sure.
before to that? Okay.
Well, I
wasn't sure if
I
you
was
wanted
in
to
like
talk
I was in a really precarious situation. I was pretty sure I was ready to leave Fairfield and do something else, and I ended up moving to Las Vegas like on a whim, because
Wow.
we have a lot of Fairfield friends actually down there, a lot of poker players and whatnot.
Yeah.
And yeah, rent is incredibly inexpensive down there. You get pools and
Inexpensive?
inexpensive. Yeah, it's great.
Wow, great.
So anyway, I did that for a little while, and I thought I was going to study for my realtor's license, but I don't know. It didn't feel like my community or people. Pretty much, it was kind of fun, but I just didn't see the long term in it. I actually came back to Fairfield because I had an accepted offer on another like fixer-upper house. Because I've kind of been doing that and hustling that for several years. You actually make like really good money doing that.
Nice.
So I hung it all up to basically close on this house. There was a 5-month delay, and then it completely canceled. The seller didn't have like what do they call it, equitable title, or so it was a big cluster. And so I was like, well, shit, because I haven't been working, just planning for this to like, and suddenly all the credit card payments started coming in. So I actually filed bankruptcy. Like, if people have been listening to my show, they probably already know this about me, so I'll try to keep it short. But
wow.
So that literally happened. Like, so I was like, fuck it, I'll just file bankruptcy and wipe $40,000 in debt. And you know what's so funny about this is they're like, oh, you'll never buy anything ever again. You'll never get a car loan. You'll never. It's like, I don't think so. We filed, and I'm getting like letters in the mail like crazy. Like, get a new credit card, buy a new car. So there's this really weird stigma. Actually, I think I might be doing a service to humanity by talking about it, because seriously, it's not gonna bite you too hard. So the day I filed, $6,000 came into my checking account because of back unemployment. I was just like, sweet.
Wow.
I don't know if I should be
instead
telling.
of -40, you're like +6. I mean, wow.
But
that's great.
I don't know. I probably shouldn't have told the internet that, but I feel very.
I can edit it out if you want.
I can. I'm the editor. But yeah, it's been a trip. And then
Wow.
what's even more weird is I have a job offer currently, pretty decent. I'll just keep that anonymous.
Yeah.
But I'm like, you're gonna pay me less than what I'm currently making in unemployment.
That's,
and I'm like,
yeah.
I mean,
That's one of the problems, I think, because they didn't relegate. I don't know the right word, but
I don't know.
Relegate.
I'm a dummy.
Well, because they were like, oh, we'll just give $600 a week to everyone, like no matter what they made before, no matter what, So it's like now in the industries that people are, especially like even here in New York, like people are having businesses are having a hard time hiring people back because they're making more on unemployment. But then there's the whole other tier where like I would be making more on unemployment right now. Like in the winter, if this happened, it would be like
different story.
Great. But yeah, right now during the busy season, I would actually be making more. But yeah, so it's just iffy there because you don't know what's going on. But yeah, just ride
it's
it
super
out.
Weird. I mean, like you and I are about the same age, and I've never lived through anything like this my entire life. I mean, it's just crazy.
No, it's insane. Even 2008, like when we graduated. What year did you graduate?
I was
college?
07. I'm talking high school.
High school.
Wait, so you're several years older than me. Yeah.
I'm just one. So I graduated in 06. So
okay.
I don't know how old you are because I'm pretty young for my
31.
Okay, me too.
Cool.
But I was like, I'm normally like, I'm like young for my grade or whatever. There were people who were almost 2 years older than me in my grade growing up. And I was like, this is odd, but okay.
That is odd.
Yeah. It's like the cutoff was weird. And I was like, okay. But yeah, so I forgot where I was going.
Oh,
What were we talking about?
Crazy Times. Oh, 2008 crash, maybe.
Yes. So when that happened, I graduated 2 years after that. And so I was, going into the worst economic landscape since, I don't know when before that. And I remember I graduated from the University of Iowa, and I remember the speaker was that oh my God, what was his name? He's like a famous
Jimmy Kimmel.
No,
Kimmel.
It was someone older. Yeah.
I don't know. I'm just spitting random names out.
Anyways, I'll probably think of it later.
This is like why I need someone to be in the studio to like look shit up for us. Jamie.
Say it.
Jamie.
Yeah, exactly.
Sorry, go on.
But but I remember my parents were so disappointed at his speech because the whole thing was like about how horrible of an economy we're going into, and how you should have gone into the military. Like, thank you for our, it was just like so uninspiring. My parents were like, they should have been telling you that you are now the class or generation to create jobs, to change the economy, to go forward and try to make things happen. And instead it was just so depressing. And I was like, what? But I can't imagine the speeches right now that were happening when people graduated this year.
Via Zoom, like that's bogus.
Oh,
I mean, I wouldn't want to graduate like that. And people are having like their MFA art shows like via webcam. It's like, come on. It's like it's sculpture too. It's like, come on. That's ridiculous.
Oh, you can't appreciate it.
No, you can't do anything with it.
It's the world we're in right now.
Hey, are you going to vote Kanye? No, I'm just kidding. He's running for...
I saw that. Wait, is he running 2020 or 2024? Is he actually running?
Does anyone know? I mean, even if he says he does, are we taking it seriously? I don't know. I got to see him live once. That was like super fun. I had this like live music kick for a while. I did like 3 years in a row going to Bonnaroo.
Oh, nice.
I was a little bit younger, and that was like right on the precipice of that festival like not sucking.
Yeah.
Like when festivals reach the 10-year anniversary, it's gonna like topple over.
Yep.
First
year, new one coming out, and new festival to go to.
What were some of like your favorite live shows that you've been to?
I've done a lot of festivals since I moved to New York, and one of my favorites. There are always people that I admire anyway, and then seeing them live obviously is just like a whole other layer of just awe. I saw I'm a huge FKA Twigs fan, and I saw her perform at Panorama one summer, and she was just, I don't think a lot of people got it unless they were big FKA Twigs fans, because it was very different. It was very like dance focused, but that's her, that's what she does. Whereas a lot of festivals in New York are very lots of guitar, lots of live instrumentation instead of a little more electronic. So I really enjoyed it. I could tell other people kind of didn't get it, but I was like, she's awesome. Who else? I saw St. Vincent, who is amazing. I love her. I saw Janet Jackson, which she was great. It's a lot of whatever it is.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
Is there one that moved you more than any other? Like, what do you draw your biggest inspirations from?
I do have to say I did see Frank Ocean, and he was so inspiring because he's so... Oh, shit. My video went out.
Oh, actually, I'm glad you said that because my camera just cut out, but we still have, like, this feed. Give me 1 second, all
Okay.
I'll
Yeah, no
I'll
problem.
swap out cameras. Cool. These things happen. Hey, sorry, I just barely heard that.
No, that's okay. I was wondering if I should
Okay.
pause my audio. But
Oh, that's okay. You don't have to.
I can't search the web for. Hey Siri, I just.
Oh my God! Now my Siri's trying to talk to me. What is even going on?
that's hilarious.
Just a minor technical hiccup. I realized that my
worries.
camera overheated because I've actually been running it for most of an afternoon, which
It's good.
it's actually really good. It doesn't usually crap out like that, but I told you too. I did another interview earlier today, so we're keeping the ball
Yeah.
rolling like
It's
crazy.
working hard.
I know. Thank the government.
Yes. I will thank the government. Thank you.
Yeah. We were talking about inspiration.
Yes. Oh, so I saw Frank Ocean play live, and he inspired me so much because in between his songs, he was so awkward. Just talking to the audience, you could tell it wasn't his forte. He just wasn't into that. And then once he started singing, it was like he became who he was meant to be. And you could just tell that it didn't matter. He was just so cute. Like it didn't matter like how awkward and socially just inept he was talking to people, because his voice and just his whole persona, singing and everything he stands for was just, it just came out of him. And I just really, it spoke to me.
That's
it was
awesome.
really, really great.
Yeah, people talk about that like sort of discrepancy between their professional and personal lives, you know?
Well, I think we're all a little awkward socially, no?
Yeah, I think it's part of life actually. I mean, that's the
I
thing
think
when
so.
you quote unquote make it, right? And then you have this whole entourage that dresses you and grooms you, and you're sporting the coolest new jacket, all this stuff. It's like it leaves very little room, especially when you're signing like all these release forms and you're in front of TV or someone takes a photo of you, all this stuff.
Yeah.
It's like that image of perfection is just so probably outdated to some degree. Like I hope it is, because
I hope so too.
yeah.
I think it's slowly becoming outdated, because I think now more than ever people want authenticity, and they want they can see right through something that's not authentic. And even if you're, especially as a musician, it's hard because you have to be loud in what you're doing. Even if your music is quiet and soft, you have to be loud in it, if that makes sense.
No, yeah, you got to claim it as your own.
Yeah, so that people actually want to hear it. People actually want to be involved in it and be a part of it. So it's almost, you have to find that balance between how can I be loud and authentic, but still, I mean, that's the balance. If you're not a loud person and you're trying to be loud and authentic, you can be loud and authentic if you are that way anyway. But
Instagram, of all things, kind of broke me out of my shell. Like, it's funny because, like, growing up, I remember being asked if I would, like, I wasn't a performer. I dabbled in music, but I would never, like, play it really in front of other people. It just kind of wigged me out. And then, you know, like, there's like speech and other extracurricular type things in school. And I just always said no, because I'm just like, oh my God, I'm terrified. Like, I didn't really like my voice at all. Like, and then it kind of changed. I don't know. I think I got to a point in my early adult life where I was just like, I don't know, fuck it. Like, it's just not fun enough. So I started doing like Instagram stories just to like, that was like, it was safe enough. I know it sounds silly, but it's like, it was my first sort of diving into being like okay with being seen.
yeah.
And it just kind of like slowly developed into what we're doing right now. Like,
I think that's beautiful. That's kind of how it happens. People are very, even I get very weirded out when I do videos on Instagram, because I feel like, and people have said this to me before, that my Instagram doesn't represent, like, they'll meet me and I'm totally different than what they see on my Instagram. And I'm like, it's because I'm scared to put stories up there. It's very vulnerable. It's very, like, videos of myself are very, it's scary. You're putting yourself out there a lot. And so it is a weird, like, vulnerability, I guess, like, trying to figure that out. But yeah, I think it's something to be said that, like, you're doing it and you're, being very active with it. So I think that's amazing. Not a lot of people can do that.
I don't know. I was going to say too that, it's like, you're in front of cameras and stuff. I guess something kind of clicked for me, which is, this is like, whether I like it or not, this is already happening in real life. I will have a conversation. It's actually just taking more ownership for what I think and believe and how I say it in front of people.
Yeah.
So I actually realized that, like, the conversations I have, like, around the fire, or like if I'm out to lunch with a few friends or at a party, I'm kind of treating it all the same. If I believe in what I'm saying, I don't care who's in the room.
Exactly.
So it's incredibly liberating.
I can feel that once you know who you are and you're not trying to represent something else. And I think, I'm sure it's extremely liberating. But it also takes practice. I mean, even performing. Practice, even performing in front of audiences, being on stage. If I haven't done it in a while, I get very nervous, even if I've practiced so many times. Even if I love being on stage. I love singing for people. But if I haven't done it enough consecutively, I'm out of practice. And it just takes a minute to get back into it. And that's how it is, just showing yourself on any sort of platform. You have to do it a lot and do it frequently to maintain that sort of practice with it, and just know what you're doing and what you're saying. But I think it's good. Keep it going.
Well, I was gonna say too, I'm always just so surprised at I'm just impressed at what a stage performer has to embody to do that. Authenticity, but just there's something really kind of fierce about it, because you're walking into a room of strangers, maybe one or two friends, hopefully some fans, people that know you, but and then you're and then you're sharing, like, your babies, like the things you love the most.
Absolutely. And I think, as far as the two of us go, I've had more practice with sharing my music than I've had talking in front of people. And clearly you've had more practice, talking to the camera, talking to people. Is that clear?
I don't know.
No, you definitely have. Absolutely. I couldn't do that. I couldn't, I don't know, talk about anything. Like, this is weird for me. It seems natural, but I don't do this normally. So
no, you seem very natural at it.
Thank you. It's because I have had a little to drink, and I'm,
Yeah, I drank a little bit of Red Bull and a little White Claw. I'm like drinking only White Claws these days. I like
know. White Claw. It definitely is weird, though. I will say, because you don't realize it's gonna hit you.
And then it does.
Because it's just water. Yeah. And you're like, wait.
That reminds me of those, like, LaCroix memes. Have you seen any of those?
I don't know if I've seen the memes. But...
Oh, it's so funny. It's like LaCroix is, what did they say? It's like someone went into the back room and yelled the flavor. That's what a LaCroix is.
I can see. Pamplemousse. Best one.
So, any plans for the immediate future?
Immediate future, yes. I have. So the song I just finished is called Jai Gurudev.
Whoa.
But it's like, yeah, I'm excited about it. It's kind of like a note to my old self. But it's really kind of about taking your time and it's all going to be okay. Like, just, you know, I mean, once you hear it, it'll explain it. I don't hate explaining my songs, but yeah, it's a note to my past self to just kind of slow things down and take things as they come and not be so distracted, I think. But that I will hopefully come out beginning of August. So
that's just around the corner.
Be that, yeah. And then I'm working on a few more that hopefully will be finished this week or next week. So I've gotten a lot done in the home studio.
I know. I'm so impressed.
Good.
Well, when people go to your YouTube channel, they see some of your other stuff. I mean, you really do a good job. I was just like, wow, like, looks great. Like, having a proper studio space is just so important.
It's taken me a while to get to this point. I realized how much I was spending on professional recording studios. I mean, some of them in New York are $100 an hour. And I was just like, I can buy a great mic. I can buy,
Yikes, yeah.
you know, a whole setup and not have to do that. It, you know, there was a huge learning curve, but obviously we talked about that already. Like, you can do it. Just take some time, some YouTube tutorials, and you're good.
What are some things that you wish you might have done differently as you had pursued this interest of yours?
That's a good question, actually. No one's really asked me that before. I've worked with a lot of different people, and the thing about figuring out who you can work with, you just have to trust them musically. And I've been blessed to have some really great people that I've worked with. The biggest thing that I did wrong was spending way too much money on live shows and way too much money on stuff that, had I had the time to figure out, I should have done myself. I never like to work with someone without compensating them. I was working at Frontline and I had some good income, so I would pay musicians and I would pay mixers and I would pay these people to help me, but it ended up, you know, putting me into debt. Like, it was not great. I was funding a whole business that I didn't realize was just not financially smart. So I think the biggest thing is learning how to do more yourself and getting to a point where now I can go up on stage by myself and do a full show that's interesting, that's engaging. Not that I want to continue that way through my career, but at least now I know that the overhead for that show isn't going to be me, like, you know, paying $1,500 for all the musicians and you know, going into more debt. So you have to treat it like a business, unfortunately, especially if you don't have a bankroll behind you. So I think that was the biggest mistake, was just throwing money away. But you learn that. I think the more you can do yourself, the better off you're going to be. And it took me a while to get there, but
no, that's really good advice. I had to learn that too, to some degree, with, you know, of course, what I do, I got video cameras, microphones, all this stuff. I had to kind of prioritize, like, you know, at a certain point you kind of piece it all together. But I know everyone's kind of fixated on having the best and the shiniest, and like I was kind of trapped in that for a long time. I'm a photographer too, so like I have to have the best camera. But you know, it took some working up to it. And it's funny, like the more I know now, like I'm just rocking with the stock lens that the camera came with, and it's like, knowing what I know now, it's like I know what the limitations are. I know I can still get amazing results, right? I know what
Yep.
it's like I know what a 50 millimeter lens does, and I have one, but you learn what all these tools are, and then you can actually navigate these waters pretty well for not a lot of money if you just apply yourself.
Yes, it's true. And that's the crux of it, right? It's like, how much is my time worth, and how much is it more convenient in the long run for me to just pay for, someone else to do this now, or pay for the big piece of equipment that I don't understand yet, or do I take the time? Do I like put in the work? Do I figure out how to do these things on my own so that I can bring that into the future? It's just, it took me too long to figure it out. But I mean, I wouldn't trade my journey for anything. I definitely hit all my bases.
Well, what's so ironic about it too is like, you know what you know now because you did those things. So
exactly, because you made those mistakes. Yeah, I'm a little hard-headed too. Like, I've gone through a lot of situations in the music industry where I didn't feel quite heard. And so I'm very insecure in the way that if I don't feel like I know everything about a subject, then I will just be trampled on. And I know that about myself. So I made it a huge point in my life to try to learn it all, so that if someone with a bigger personality, or, who thought they knew more but really didn't, I would actually know whether it was good advice they were giving me, or whether we should, do it that way or not. I would actually could make the judgment at that point. And I now feel confident enough within what I'm doing and within music in general that I can make those decisions. And I never used to be able to say that. So it's been a good learning year.
That's really great. Well, so if people want to find your work, how do they go about it? Where are you located?
I am on everything now. I'm on YouTube. I'm on I can give you links if you
I was going to say,
like posting them.
Everyone can find them in the description below.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I'm on Spotify, Apple Music, iTunes, Tidal, YouTube, Instagram, all that jazz. But
that's cool.
Yeah.
So more live looping videos, right? Those are going to be out?
Yeah, I don't have any in the works, but yeah, I mean, the next big thing will be the release of this new song. And, I'm working on a lyric video for it, so we'll see how that pans out. But I've been working with After Effects, and I'm getting very excited about what it can do.
After Effects, that's a crazy program.
It's very cool. Yeah. I watched a tutorial on how to make water the other day, and I was like, okay, let's do this.
That's rad. Yeah.
Yeah. Man.
Well, listen, Amber, thanks so much for talking with me today. Thanks for coming on
course.
early. Like, you're one of the first.
Yes. Thank you for having me. This was a lot of fun. And
well, yeah, suppose you have some new work coming out down the road. Maybe give a holler and we'll talk about it. We'll get it out.
Absolutely. Would love to.
Awesome.
Would love to. Thank you so
all
much.
right.
I'm glad this all worked.
I am too. Thanks for watching, everybody. That's awesome. All right. Have a good rest of your day. Well, so that's probably the end of the podcast, but whatever.
You're like, how do I turn everything off?
Well, I'll make sure.
Stop the audio.
Okay.